What's going on, everybody? It's Nick Kosko with On3 Sports for another college wrestling preview in the Big Ten, a big top 15 matchup according to the coaches poll. Number 13, Rutgers hosting at number 9, Minnesota on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Big Ten Plus. The Scarlet Knights coming off their first Big Ten loss to Michigan last weekend, while Minnesota still entrenched in that top 10. There's a handful of ranked matchups coming up on Saturday. This could be a very, very close duel as it was anticipated for Rutgers against Michigan last Sunday, but the Wolverines took advantage of their toss-up bouts and, of course, the ones that they were favored in as well. So we'll go down the line. Of course, we'll highlight the ranked matchups in this duel between the Scarlet Knights and the Gophers, but this could be a chance for the Scarlet Knights to win their first dual meet against one of the quote-unquote Big Five of the Big Ten, which would include Minnesota, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, and, of course, Penn State at the top of the conference. But again, a big opportunity for the Scarlet Knights, but also a big opportunity for the Golden Gophers with a couple of highly ranked guys as well to get a very, very excellent dual win on the road in the Big Ten, which is always tough to do, of course. So let's dive right into it. Got 125 pounds, Dean Peterson for the Scarlet Knights and Patrick McKee of Minnesota. These two have faced each other just once before. You have to go back to NCAAs in Tulsa last year, won by Peterson at 6-4. Now, McKee is ahead in the rankings this year. Peterson has been a little bit up and down since his undefeated start, but of course, he's had some tough matches, including Michael DiAugustino of Michigan just last week, who he lost to 2-1. McKee does own a 7-2 win over DiAugustino if you're looking at common opponents, but of course, that was at last year's NCAAs. But so right off the bat, you're going to get a toss-up bout again. Peterson should be favored only because he's at home. He's going to feed off the home crowd, and also he does have the leg up on McKee, has beaten him before, and of course he has a guy and teammate Dylan Shawver, who we'll get into in a second, who has beaten McKee a couple of times when Shawver was down at 125 pounds. But this match could very well dictate the direction of the duel between Rutgers and Minnesota. So I got to say, this is definitely a toss-up. Could go either way right now. So don't be surprised at a one takedown type of match in terms of a differential from either man as well. So we'll go right to 133. So it looks at Dylan Shawver ranked 8th in the country. Tyler Wells of Minnesota ranked 26th according to Intermat. These two have never wrestled each other. They actually have no common opponents. Again, Shawver is up at 133 pounds this year compared to starting his career at 125. This is definitely one where Rutgers should be favored in. Shawver's had two close losses to Dylan Ragusin. Those are the noteworthy losses for him this year, including last Sunday as well. But otherwise, he has been on a scoring tear this dual season, and he is just looking so much better up a weight, looks faster, looks stronger, and definitely more aggressive on his feet. So this is definitely one where Rutgers is favored in. Minnesota's going to probably have to try to save bonus points here, because I know it's a ranked matchup, but Shawver's a guy who can score a lot, not afraid to go to his signature fireman's dump as well. He's been hitting that all season long. This could be a situation where Rutgers might be down 3-0, but could go up 4-3 if they can get bonus points out of Shawver. But we're looking at maybe a 1-1 split here through the first two bouts between Rutgers and Minnesota, perhaps a 2-0 discrepancy in either direction as well. 141. A big opportunity for Mitch Moore to get back in the win column against a ranked opponent. Van Bauer is obviously very close to him in the rankings as well. So again, another toss-up bout. You could have a 1-1 split going into the third bout of the afternoon. So again, this is big for either man. They have not wrestled each other before. And Wrestle Stat projects this one to be a decision win for Van Bauer. But again, Mitch Moore, he was a little dinged up going into last weekend, had a tough loss to Sergio Lemley of Michigan as well. And of course, had the upset against Michigan State to suffer his first two losses of the season. But I'm confident, at least based on what I've watched this year, to see Mitch Moore bounce back. But again, this is no easy task. If he loses right here, wouldn't shock me, of course, because again, this is just how things go in the Big Ten. You have these guys that are very equally matched up. Again, could go either way. I'm looking at maybe another low-scoring match right here, 141, 2-1, probably in either direction in terms of the bout wins for the teams here overall in the dual meet. 149, you have to look at Michael Chetta against Drew Roberts. Not a ranked matchup. Chetta probably the favorite on paper right there for the Scarlet Knights, so maybe looking at a win for Rutgers there before you head to the middle, where you get Andrew Clark, who was in and out of the rankings this year for Rutgers at 157. Michael Block has been on an absolute tear. Would not be surprised if he tries to turn up the juice there for bonus points. Now, Clark is still TBD to go for Rutgers at 157. You could see Al DeSantis again, as I know Clark has been banged up as well. Jacob Butler, who was at 149 this year, was injured. He is maybe going to go back into the lineup. He did weigh in against Michigan, up a weight at 157, so maybe a way for him to get back into the lineup is at 157 pounds. So it would be interesting if we do see Butler there, but I would say Minnesota definitely the favorite right here at the halfway point of the duel. So probably looking at maybe a 3-2 split here in either direction. Maybe I would lean towards Rutgers going into the intermission break with a 3-2 bout split lead. Bonus points are certainly going to be in play. I would imagine at 133 and also 157. 165. Anthony White for Rutgers projected to go there. Could be Luke Gayer as well. They've kind of been interchangeable over the past week or so. So either man could go in there. Blaine Brenner, the favorite on paper there from Minnesota. So you're probably leaning towards the Gophers in terms of who's going to get this decision right here. White and Brenner, by the way, have not wrestled each other. WrestleStat does project a 7-5 decision for White to win this one. Again, this could be big because, again, you have another toss-up bout right here. And again, in a duel that's going to be that razor thin, you really can't afford to lose the ones that you are projected to win and vice versa. 174, not a ranked matchup, but Jackson Turley goes for the Scarlet Knights. He's been on an absolute tear. We know this. The bonus point machine in him is coming back out. Looks like the Jackson Turley of old, if not the new and improved Jackson Turley, as he looks to make another run towards the podium. Sam Skillings is his projected opponent for Minnesota. They have not wrestled each other before, but I would definitely favor Turley in this one. So if we're looking at it right there, maybe you go into 174 at a 3-3 bout split between the two teams. Turley takes the advantage right here, maybe hunting for bonus points as well. So Rutgers would be in good shape as we head to 184. And this is a ranked matchup. We have to definitely highlight Brian Soldano. I know he's been a little bit more up and down now. He is well above 500 in terms of his personal record, but Soldano has wrestled some tough ranked guys, has come up short. I know he was hunting for the big move against Bullock last week of Michigan at 184, ended up losing by major decision. That could be the scenario here as well. Isaiah Salazar is wrestling as good as he's ever wrestled before. He's obviously given John Poznansky some trouble as well. Poznansky was back down at 184 just a couple of years ago, notably in that Big Ten tournament. Salazar, the favorite here. So if Turley gets bonus points for Rutgers, maybe Salazar hunts for him, tries to take advantage of Soldano going for his big moves, going for throws, trying to work off his back as well. So Soldano has to be careful right here. Maybe he has to save bonus points, but he's certainly capable of pulling off the upset based on the rankings here as well. So I wouldn't count him out here, but definitely going to lean towards Minnesota right here. So we're probably looking at about a 4-4 bout split, and then it's just going to depend on where bonus points are going to go heading into the final two bouts. And again, the final two bouts, we're going to get ranked matchups. John Poznansky for the Scarlet Knights that I just mentioned has been an absolute dog at 197 right now. Undefeated on the season, top 10 in the country. Garrett Joles from Minnesota, no slouch himself either. These two have not faced each other. And actually, by the way, going back to Soldano and Salazar real quick, they have faced each other. It's not just the Poznansky factor. Soldano did lose to Salazar 3-0 last year at the Big Ten tournament. So, again, an opportunity for Soldano to get one back. But looking at Poznansky, has not wrestled Joles before. Again, Poznansky up at a new weight this year, but he's certainly the heavy favorite right here. He's been a bonus point machine so far this year. He can really turn it up when he has to, especially if in a team score scenario where maybe he's up by 5 late, needs one more takedown. He's certainly capable of getting that final takedown and hanging on for a major decision. So I'd lean 5-4 Rutgers here in terms of the bout splits, and then you have to determine where bonus points are going to come from as well. I would definitely favor Poznansky at 197. Then heavyweight, you have Yaroslav Slavakuski for the Scarlet Knights, 7th in the country. Bennett Tabor is number 29 according to Intermat's rankings. Again, these two have not faced each other as well, so not too many common opponents between some of these guys for Rutgers and Minnesota, just depending upon if they're new guys into the program or if they have moved up or down weights. But Slavakuski is the favorite here. So if it all breaks well for Rutgers, I'm not going to predict Slavakuski to get bonus points here in this final bout, but you're looking at a 6-4 split for Rutgers, maybe at worst a 5-5 split if you're looking at it from the Scarlet Knights perspective. If you're looking at it and from the Minnesota Gophers perspective, you probably look at 5-5 split is the most likely scenario. Maybe best case scenario is 6-4, depending upon what toss-up bouts you win. And again, I think it's going to all come down to 125 right off the bat. That'll be a big swing bout for the duel, even though it's probably going to lead off the duel, which is ironic when you put those two sentences together. But it all starts at 125 with Peterson and McKee. and that'll really set the tone for the match. I would lean towards Peterson and lean towards Shawver in the first two for Rutgers. Could go the other way, 0-2 if you're Rutgers, or maybe a 1-1 split there. And then you look at the middle weights where you don't have a ranked versus ranked matchup. That's really what it's going to come down to. So I say best case scenario right now, if you're Rutgers, you're up 6-4 in those bouts, and you do win this duel and you finally knock off Minnesota. And if you're Minnesota, you're more likely looking at maybe a 5-5 split, perhaps a 6-4 split in your favor if you do pull off an upset. So this is going to be a razor-thin duel. I'll be on the call, as always, with my guy, Matt Howe, Big Ten Plus, 1 p.m., live from Jersey Mike's Arena in Piscataway, New Jersey at Rutgers University. Don't miss it. Once again, we're looking at another great duel. And again, this is my message to everybody else. We need a dual meet championship in college wrestling, because you're going to get great matchups just like this. We'll see you next time. I'm Nick Kosko for On3 Sports.